It's the end of 2018, so it's the perfect time to look back at all the Star Wars stories we got over the past year. I thought it would be fun to recommend my favorite stories in each media, so I'll talk about the best movie, TV show, book, comic, and video game for Star Wars in 2018, and I'll get into what I liked about each of them, so this'll hopefully give you kind of a must-watch or must-read list if you're into that. Running unopposed in the film category is Solo, a Star Wars story. I was pretty skeptical of this movie before it came out, or skeptical for me, I should say. I was still very hopeful it would be good, and it was, but I'll admit that it's a movie that has continued to grow on me. I remember walking out of the theater for my first viewing thinking, yeah, it's good enough, a fun watch. I only found the time to see it once more in theaters, which bummed me out, but since we got it on home release, we've watched it a lot, and yeah, it's continued to grow on me. Alden Ehrenreich was my biggest concern going into the movie, but his performance is so good that I didn't once question him as Han Solo, and now I fully embrace him as the younger iteration of the character. Also, I want to give a special shout out to the score, because it was disqualified from Oscar contention in 2019, and I love the music in the movie. I would welcome John Powell back to compose future Star Wars films with open arms. But anyway, if you've been holding off on seeing Solo for any reason, I recommend you go see it. The two nominees for Best Star Wars TV Show in 2019 are Star Wars Rebels and Star Wars Resistance. Rebels wins this in a landslide for me. It's not totally fair to compare the final season of a show to another's first, considering how connected we are to the characters and storylines of Rebels at this point, but the second half of Season 4 had so many standout moments. Kanan's End, The World Between Worlds, the entire final episode. I've said this before, but I want to mention it again. I credit Rebels with a lot of my positive attitude when it comes to Star Wars content. When it was first being revealed, I didn't like the look of it and thought I would hate it because it seemed too childish. I only gave it a chance because I had this channel and I had committed to watching and reading everything Star Wars, and it took a few episodes, but I got hooked. I found myself looking forward to each new episode, and then I found myself speculating on the future of the show and what was going to happen. I fell in love with the characters and the stories being told. Rebels taught me not to be a grumpy 30-year-old and at least give all Star Wars stories a chance, even if they weren't made with me in mind, and I will forever be grateful for that. My favorite book of the year was a tough one. The nominees were The Last Jedi novelization by Jason Fry, Most Wanted by Ray Carson, Last Shot by Daniel Jose Older, Thrawn Alliances by Timothy Zahn, and the Solo novelization by Mur Lafferty. I think most people will expect me to pick Thrawn Alliances because I do love Thrawn, but I think Last Shot might have been my favorite of the year. I was excited to explore the time after Return of the Jedi, which has been mostly untouched so far. More Lando is always a good thing. It told a more expansive story. It was also incredibly funny at times. I wasn't crazy about the villain, but off the top of my head, that's the only real criticism I have. I still enjoyed Thrawn Alliances, of course, but it didn't grab me the same way the first Thrawn book did, and I think Last Shot was more of a pleasant surprise to me. Moving on to comics, this is the category with the most options to choose from, but I think anyone who follows this channel knows the only choice for me to make is Darth Vader by Charles Soule. It actually just wrapped up with its 25th issue, and the entire series blew me away. I don't think there was a bad issue in the bunch. Every arc had twists and turns. It revealed new information about Darth Vader as a person. We learned more about the Force. We got to see a lot more of the Inquisitorius. I don't really want to get into the plot that much because I think everyone should experience this story for themselves. You will not be disappointed. Next up, my favorite video game of the year is kinda sorta running unopposed as well. Battlefront 2 is my choice, but I have to admit I don't play mobile games and I've never played the Old Republic, so I'm not the most informed gamer. I know last year the launch for the game was incredibly rocky, but the people at DICE have completely overhauled the game. The latest Geonosis update brought Obi-Wan in as a hero, and Grievous was recently added. The Geonosis map itself is a lot of fun. The game seems like it's on sale all the time, and it's pretty fun, so I feel comfortable recommending giving it a go if you've been on the fence. Okay, now we're at our final award, Star Wars Story of the Year. If I could recommend one story to experience from 2018, what would it be? This was a tough decision for me, and it basically came down to a choice between Solo, Rebels, and the Darth Vader comic. But the Darth Vader comic consistently left me with my jaw on the floor, month after month. Charles Soule always gave me something unexpected and left me wanting more. People tell me all the time they've never read Star Wars comics and they want to know where to start. Start with the Darth Vader comic, no question, it's phenomenal. In general, I think the comics have been great for Star Wars lately. I'll often see people complain about how Star Wars isn't doing X, Y, or Z, and my first thought is, oh, okay, well these people clearly aren't reading the comics. So yeah, I'd urge you to give them all a shot, but start with Darth Vader. Those are my picks for the best Star Wars stories of 2018. 2019 is shaping up to be huge, giving us more options in every medium, so I wanted to try picking my favorites this year as practice. Please let me know what you thought of this format in the comments, and tell me what you'd like to see next year if you have ideas. Also, let me know what your favorites were in each category. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.